Art is about creation that leads to reaction. You create first, then you observe human behavior. Design, on the other hand, is understanding that leads to creation. You study human behavior first, then create based on the human behavior to solve a problem. Reimagine art, design, and human-computer interaction. I'm Tafadzwa, and I'll guide you through it. Our world is constantly changing. In this world of artificial intelligence where anyone can type a prompt and create a painting or design at the click of a button, someone may have to ask, is art or design still relevant? What makes art or design special? Is it just the outcome or is it the process? For instance, two artists may paint the same subject, one with a brush and one with a palette knife. The results may look similar, but the process and the skill involved separate the palette knife painting from the painting made with a brush. In the world of AI, I think of AI like a microwave. It can make things fast and it's convenient, but just because someone can use a microwave, does it make them a chef? Not necessarily. In the same way, generating images with AI doesn't automatically make someone an artist or a designer. I heard someone say this. Just because something is artificial, it doesn't mean it's intelligent. And just because it's intelligent, it doesn't mean it's artificial. But it's the process, the mistakes, the imperfections, the decision making, and the human intuition that is what makes the outcome special. The difference between good art and great art, good design and great design, it's one thing. It is the process. Which leads us to the next point. Is art design or is design art? We know that art is very broad. Since we're talking about art and design, we can break them into two types: fine arts and applied arts. Fine arts. Fine arts focus more on expression, emotion, and aesthetics. Examples are drawing, painting, non-commercial photography, sculpture. The list goes on and on. Think of Picasso, Van Gogh, Rembrandt, all the different artists through time. Applied arts. I think the term is self-explanatory. It's art that you can apply. Applied arts combine aesthetics and functionality. The purpose is more about problem solving through creativity. Examples include architecture, print design, web design, UI, UX, interior design, industrial design. The list goes on and on. That's the difference between fine arts and applied arts. While art expresses emotion, design solves problems. But there is a convergence. They both use the same elements and principles. And what are the elements and the principles of art? Line, shape, space, value, form, texture, and color. And the principles of art are balance, contrast, emphasis, movement, pattern, rhythm, and unity. In some cases, there may be more, but today we'll just work with 7. Let's look at the first element, line. What is a line? A line is a connection between two dots. Line can be used to express mood, motion, or rhythm. And in an abstract way, wavy lines can be used to show a calm or raging river. Straight lines can be used to show wind or motion, how fast or how slow an object is moving. Long to short consecutive lines can give the illusion of telephone poles or perspective as you're riding down the road. Now moving into the design space, when you see three horizontal lines, whether on an app or website, you know that's a menu. A hamburger menu to be specific. Lines are not just for decoration in this case. They now have functionality. When you see the three dots on a digital user interface, you automatically know that there are more options than what you're seeing. The Wi-Fi symbol is just a combination of curved lines and a dot. Lines, yes, but functional in this case. The signal bars on your phone, they're not just for decoration anymore. They now convey information. Even on a calculator, the addition symbol is two lines converging. Subtraction symbol is just a line. Multiplication symbol, two lines crossing. And then you have the division symbol, two dots and a line. All these are lines. All lines. But these are not just decorations. They all have a use. Even the lanes down the road. There's a difference between a solid and a broken line. They are functional and they are crucial for our safety. In the sound design space, waveforms are little lines and they show you intensity, how low or how loud the audio is. Understanding how the line element works will help you know when and how to use it on paper, canvas, or on digital spaces. Shape. A shape is two-dimensional, representing the outline or visible form of an object defined by height and width. There are many shapes, but they can be classified into two groups. Geometric shapes, we have the circle, the square, the triangle. The list goes on and on. And then we have organic or natural shapes. The shape of a leaf, a water drop shape, animal shapes, the list goes on and on. Although shapes generally fall into these two main classes, they can also be abstract or non-representational, meaning that they are neither geometric nor based on natural forms. The placement of shapes within a composition gives balance and visual rhythm. Shapes create positive and negative spaces, forming patterns that can be striking and appealing in all different forms of artistic expression. In fine arts, shape may be decorative, but in design, shapes are functional. Think of the PlayStation controller icons: triangle, a square, a circle, and an X. These aren't just decorations, but these all have a meaning. Look at the play, pause, and rewind buttons. Triangles and bars combined together, and these all have a meaning. A star. Think of a star. It's used for ratings. 5-star, great, and 1-star, bad. Road signs, the car dashboards, they're all filled with little shapes. Think of pictograms. They are not there for a decoration. All these have a function. And then you move into the typography space. If you zoom in on the letter forms, you will notice that the letter forms or the typefaces are actually shapes. You will see the negative and the positive spaces. If you zoom out, you'll notice that most of the books that we read, they use the grid method. In this grid method, you'll see squares and rectangles, which create a layout and balance for easy reading. A Bible is a great example of typography. It has breaks and columns, which makes it easy on the eyes. Icons and logos are also shapes, identities that carry meaning and function. You see a logo, you know exactly what you're getting. When it comes to shapes, there is a convergence between art and design in how they are applied. Space. Space is the area around, above, and within an object. Artists work within an area called the artist limited space. In other words, everything must fit within the given area to let the viewer see exactly what you're trying to convey or depict, whether it's circles, rectangles, or triangles. By layering shapes, you convey depth, which gives the illusion of space separating the background, the middle ground, and the foreground. In the design space, white or negative space improves readability and focus. In print or newspapers, white margins help with readability. Websites and UI layouts use white and negative spaces to organize elements. Even board games. Think of a chessboard. It uses the positive and the negative space. But those spaces are not for decoration, they're functional. It's not all black, it's not all white, because that wouldn't work. And think of pictograms, and this can apply to the shapes as well. They rely on spatial balance. As you see the positive and the negative space. But those pictograms now, they all have functionality. So that is why space is very important in the fine art space or in the design space. Value. Value is how light or dark an object appears. It gives art and design a sense of depth, form, and dimension. Without value, everything would look flat. In art, value helps create the illusion of light, shadow, and space. Artists use techniques like hatching, cross-hatching, stippling, blending, and chiaroscuro. And you may also want to know about the term called tenebrism, the use of intense light and darkness. In simple terms that everybody can understand, is also known as the spotlight effect. These techniques make a flat surface appear three-dimensional and lifelike. Value also sets the mood and focus of a piece. Strong contrast can feel dramatic and intense. Soft shading can feel peaceful or dreamlike. Gradual transitions define volume, turning a simple circle into a realistic sphere. Artists like Rembrandt and Caravaggio mastered the use of light and shadow to bring emotion and realism to their work. In design, value creates contrast, hierarchy, and focus, which guides the viewer's eye. For instance, skeuomorphic design uses realistic shadows, textures, and lighting to make digital elements look tangible like real buttons or switches. Neumorphism, modern skeuomorphism, uses soft light and subtle shadows for a clean minimum 3D look, often seen in apps and interfaces today. Shadows on websites, buttons, and UI elements aren't they just for decoration? They give depth, show interactivity, and help users understand what's clickable. What can we learn from all this? Whether on a canvas or on a screen, value controls light, depth, and emotion. It's what turns something flat into something alive. Form. An element of art with length, width, and depth that defines a physical or visual volume. By adding light and shadows, which is value, it transforms flat shapes into 3D forms. A circle becomes a sphere, a square becomes a cube, a triangle becomes a pyramid. Form helps the viewer perceive volume without touch and establishes the foreground, the middle ground, and the background, a key principle in sculpture, painting, and digital rendering. It breathes life and realism into visual art. Artists use shading, perspective, highlights, and contours to create the illusion of volume. For instance, in sculpture, Michelangelo's Moses exemplifies form at its finest, showing realistic anatomy, volume, and expressive presence, where light and shadow sculpt a lifelike figure. Modern 3D printed figures use similar principles. It even goes into digital art and animation. Form determines how light interacts with objects, giving virtual characters and environments a believable presence. Form is paramount. In industrial design, form ensures products are comfortable, intuitive, and functional. In 3D modeling and prototyping, accurate forms guide usability and performance. Even in animation and gaming, characters and objects occupy believable space. Even things that we use in our everyday life. Think of a keyboard. It isn't flat. Its height, curve, and key depth make typing comfortable and efficient. Form blends aesthetic appeal with functionality. What can we learn from all this? Form adds dimension and realism in both art and design. In art, it conveys presence and emotion, as we saw in Michelangelo's Moses. In design, it ensures functionality and usability. Mastering form makes work both visually engaging and practical. Texture. Texture is the surface quality of an object, how it feels or appears to feel. It can be actual texture or tactile texture, which means you can physically touch it. Or it can be implied texture, which means it looks textured but feels smooth. Texture in art adds emotion, character, and realism to artwork. Expressive brushwork like Van Gogh's thick, swirling brushstrokes almost invite you to touch the paint. Texture conveys the softness of clouds, the roughness of the bark, or the smoothness of the skin, giving the illusion of depth. Even on a flat canvas, texture makes a painting feel alive and tangible. In the design world, texture affects how products are held, used, and experienced. It can be used for practical function. Think of safety mats and shoes that use rough texture for grip and safety. Sticky notes, sandpaper, and tool grips also use texture to enhance usability. In UI and UX design, subtle shadows, gradient, and patterns mimic real-life surfaces, helping users navigate and understand interfaces. Texture is also helpful in branding and giving the mood. For instance, matte surfaces are soft, modern, and minimalistic, and glossy surfaces are bold, high-end, and luxurious. Texture is a sensory and communicative element in both art and design. In art, it brings life and realism to flat surfaces. In design, it enhances function, usability, and brand experience. Mastering texture allows creators to make work that is tactile, expressive, and engaging. Color. Color is the light we see when it's reflected off an object or comes from a light source. We can't talk about color without mentioning color theory. Color theory is what makes art aesthetically pleasing and looking right. Color sets the mood. In one context, warm colors feel inviting. Change the context, and the same warmth becomes intense, even aggressive. Cool tones can feel calm and distant. Shift the surrounding colors, and suddenly that calm turns cold or isolating. Color controls the focal point. A sharp contrast or bright accent pulls the eye instantly, whether the viewer expects it or not. Color creates depth. Warm colors tend to be in the foreground and cool colors in the background. unless the artist chooses to flip the script and uses them to unsettle the viewer. Color helps to harmonize the composition. Analogous colors bring harmony until the context changes, and that harmony becomes tension. And color tells the story before anything else does. Sometimes the palette whispers the emotion long before the subject appears. The color wheel. The color wheel shows how colors relate to each other. Primary colors, red, blue, and yellow. These cannot be made by mixing other colors. Secondary colors. We get secondary colors when we mix two primary colors together. Blue plus red equals purple. Red plus yellow equals orange. Blue plus yellow equals green. We get tertiary colors when we mix a primary color and a secondary color together. For example, red and orange or blue and green. Whilst we're still there, you may also want to know about other ways to combine or mix colors. Monochromatic colors. These are variations of one color when we add a tint or a shade. When we add white to a color to make it lighter, we get a tint. When we add black to a color to make it darker, we get a shade. We have analogous colors. These are colors next to each other on the color wheel. We have complementary colors. These are colors opposite each other on the color wheel. We have split complementary colors. That's one color plus two colors next to its opposite. To simplify this, the split complementary color for purple in simple terms is light green and light orange. Triadic colors. These are three colors evenly spaced on the wheel. And we have neutral colors like black, white, and gray. It's important to note that in some instances, in art and design, black, white, and gray can be seen as the absence of color. Color has three main properties. Hue, which is the name of the color. Red, blue, green, the list goes on and on. We have value. In this case, how light or dark the color is. And saturation, how strong or pure the color looks. When a spectrum colored wheel is spun rapidly, the colors visually blend in the eye, producing white or a very light gray. This demonstrates additive color mixing, which is mixing light in motion. Speaking about additive color mixing and subtractive color mixing, that takes us to the next point. Color theory bridges art and design. Whether you use traditional or digital media, there are three color models that you have to know. The first one is the traditional color model, which is RYB, which stands for red, yellow, and blue, which are the three primary colors that we talked about earlier. And from these we get our secondary colors as well as our tertiary colors. These were the pigments that were readily available throughout art history before the modern color science. The second color model is RGB, which stands for red, green, and blue. And I'm sure you've seen RGB before. Most of the digital devices we use in our everyday life, they use this additive color method. If you mix red, green, and blue, that is what creates the visual that you see on your phone or your TV. And when you turn these colors off with the white light, that's why everything turns black, because it's additive. In this case, black is the absence of color and white light. The last color model is the subtractive color model, which is also known as CMYK. The primary colors are cyan, magenta, and yellow. Black is added because mixing cyan, magenta, and yellow alone doesn't make a true deep black. The CMYK is used for printing and anything involving pigments, inks or dyes. It is called subtractive because each pigment absorbs and subtracts certain wavelengths of light and reflects others. In simple terms, CMYK is called subtractive because the inks take away light. Each color blocks some light and shows only the color you see. When all the inks mix together, they absorb most of the light, creating dark, muddy colors, not white. CMYK is the standard for magazines, posters, packaging, branding materials, and physical prints. Understanding CMYK is essential for designers who need colors to print accurately, because what you see on screen, RGB, may look different when printed. When we talk about design, we often think about layouts, usability, or visuals. But Don Norman reminds us that great design is also emotional and plays a major role in that emotional response. Using Norman's emotional design framework, we can see that color affects us in 3 ways. Visceral design is our automatic first impression. Color is one of the fastest triggers at this level. Bright red grabs attention. Blue feels calm and trustworthy. Yellow feels optimistic. Black feels premium or powerful. Before we think, color sets the mood and tells us how to feel. Behavioral design. Behavioral design focuses on how something works, and color guides that experience. Color helps us understand what is active, what is safe, what is dangerous, and what needs attention. Blue and green often signal working, ready, or go. Yellow or orange warns us. Red signals urgency or error. In UI and UX, color helps users navigate, notice hierarchy, and understand what's clickable. When colors are consistent, the experience feels smooth and reliable. Reflective design is the meaning behind the color, how it shapes identity and self-image. Brands choose colors because they tell a story. Coca-Cola's red, Facebook's blue, Spotify's green. These colors aren't just visuals, they express personality and values. People connect with these colors because they represent how they want to feel or how they want to be seen. This is why color influences buying decisions and even appetite. Warm colors make food look more appealing, and certain colors make food feel more premium or more friendly. In conclusion, whether we are looking at art or design, color isn't just decoration. It shapes our first impression, guides how we use something. When color appeals to all these 3 levels, the senses, the experience, and the identity, it becomes more than just art or design. It becomes meaning. What can we learn from all these different art elements? They are the building blocks of everything we see and create. These are the tools artists use to turn ideas into visuals and feelings into something you can actually see. Art is about creation that leads to reaction. You create first, then you observe human behavior. Design, on the other hand, is understanding that leads to creation. You study human behavior first, then create based on the human behavior to solve a problem. These elements aren't just tools. They are your entire visual language. And once you learn to speak that language fluently, you can create anything.
If you've enjoyed this video, I'm sure you'll love this one. Please like, share, and subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss a video.